Dallas.
Yeah, so I sit next to you, remember?
Of course. Yeah.
So I have my MBA, but for my PhD I wish to get more into computer science. So my research interests in the intelligent transportation system. It's for automation for vehicle working problems. So yeah, I use this machine learning.
Yeah.
So to optimize the cooking systems.
Yeah. It sounds very sophisticated.
Yeah, a little bit different with other.
But because it's from another laboratory,
Yeah. But as we discussed, I think there's also a lot of potential to bring process improvement and machine learning together.
Yeah.
So the automation of process improvement. So could you imagine a world where I call them process improvement or process innovation engines? That's how company works. And imagine when an algorithm would suggest, hey, you don't work like this, you work like this. And I think it's not too difficult. Nobody's doing this. But I think there's a huge opportunity. Thanks. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. My name is Irma.
Irma. Yeah.
Currently, I am going to apply for a PhD, just like yeah. Also the same. We are waiting for the scholarship announcement.
Same university?
No, I'm applying to LAFRA.
Okay.
The research that I've done so far related to visualization. So the title, roughly the professor say that it is a new approach for visualization for mechanical and aerospace engineering. I didn't know anything about it, but I know visualization method, so he wants me to develop new approach for that. Yeah, and the current problem is he had a lot of sensors from a lot of things, and he wants to know what kind of that's idea. My first initial research title for him is Scalable Visualization for Heterogeneous Large Tabular Data. So very large tabular data. I've worked with data from DNA with 10,000 columns and visualize it, but the problem is the computing skills. It takes so many times and things like that, and maybe I need to improve the things on it. Yeah. And do it in real time. That's also the challenge.
Yep.
Everybody now in the paper I've read, they do a lot of things in health, in transportation,
very interesting. Very sophisticated.
No.
Yeah, very.
We can start at 9:30, but I would like the students to introduce themselves and what they're doing for their final project. Briefly, and you don't have to present everything.
So.
Okay, you can start.
Okay, my name is Kevin, and my final project is about business analysis and using process redesign for accelerate the product sales process in one of MSME in Indonesia.
Okay. It's very interesting.
Okay, hello, my name is Sarah, and my final project is about process mining and business process in Copenhagen, process in a company in Jakarta.
What kind of company is it?
It's like a banking company, it's like an ATM company, and I focus in division about Copenhagen in that company.
Very interesting.
Thank you. Well, my name is Kiki, and for my final project, I have the same kind of final project with Kevin. I'm analyzing a business process of production in small and medium enterprise named Kyomi that work in kind of government industry.
Is it the same garment industry that we saw yesterday? There was a paper by, was it you? Did you put it?
No.
Someone presented on garment
Yeah,
as well.
but it's not fun. But it's the same place. And Fajar? Oh, you already heard about Fajar?
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Fajar Ramadhani, and I'm still doing project about usage of social software within the relationship with resource management and knowledge management.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the presentation. Well, thank you so much for coming this morning. We can start?
Yes.
Wonderful. Cool. Well, yeah, my name is Michael. I live in Brisbane, and I do what I call innovation systems, so process innovation systems. So I'm probably less interested in improving processes that are broken, but designing processes that are new. We do a lot of work around describing a process, modeling a process, analyzing a process, automating a process, doing Lean, doing Six Sigma, simulating, finding out what's broken, and then fixing it. What I'm interested in is, if nothing is broken, how do you come up with an idea? And I want to talk about this today. And I want to help you also how you come up with new ideas when nothing is broken. And I call it innovation systems or process innovation as opposed to process improvement. That's the first statement. And the second one is that I want to show you how we do this in what I call the NEST. And this will be the key focus. So you have received the paper, the slides, and so that's what we do all the time, and what I'm teaching as well to my students. So we teach our students how to run the NEST. And the NEST is a room like this. It's a physical space, yeah? And at QUT we took a process like travel management, credit card handling, web page upgrades, any process we do very often. And we want to improve it. Now, the first problem is we, since a long time, try to improve things, and people are a bit sick of change. One more improvement, typically it's a minor change, it takes a lot of time. We spend a lot of time drawing flow charts and describing issues, and then we do minor improvements. So when we said we do it again, people were, I don't want to be involved. So I need to find out, and I was in charge, I had to find out, well, how do I get them engaged? How do I get them supportive? It also, I wanted to make sure that everybody is involved, that everybody contributes. So this was not about, this is advanced BPMN modeling, and then I'm using advanced process mining and simulation. You won't understand this. I need to make sure everybody understands every single step we take. So I wanted to make it very tangible. And I asked myself, how would Apple run a process redesign project? Be user-friendly, be beautiful, will be engaging. So what we did is we created the NEST, which is a room. And I just draw one picture to explain the idea of the NEST, and I had the same picture yesterday in the presentation. Have you heard about the Kano model? The Kano was a Japanese professor. If you enter this in Google, you find a model that looks like this. So this is what they call fulfillment. How well do you do it? Thank you. And this is customer satisfaction. Yeah? So this dimension is fulfillment, how well do you do it? And this is how happy is the customer. This curve describes what they call an hygiene factor. Meaning, I do it and you expect it. So if I come at 9:30 for my lecture in time, you expect it. You want something? So when you do what everybody expects, this is where you are. If I would be 1 hour late, you would be disappointed. So the hygiene factor describes what you do. But if I do it well, everybody expects this. So in Brisbane, in Australia, when you go to a hospital and the nurse will use an iPad to enter your data, today you expect this. You won't say, wow. You say, yeah, I expect there's no paper. So for the hospital, it says, I have a lot of paper, and paper becomes an iPad. It's a lot of redesign for them, and the customer expects this. I go so far, if I would stream my my lecture live on a phone, on an iPad, my students will say, I expect this. They won't say, wow. My bank, since 3 months I'm using Siri to transfer money. I say, Siri, transfer $100 to my son, pocket money. And I expect that I can do this today. So, that's what we call below the line. So below the line is I've got a problem, I fix it, but my customer largely expects that I do this anyway. So they're not even impressed. They might say, finally, but not thank you. Hygiene factor, below the line. Process management is largely focused on below the line. Give me a problem and fix it. Very reactive. So below the line is analysis. So this is where I do a lot of analysis of a problem. It is reactive. And it's typically driven by cost. The bottleneck disappears, the loop disappears, any sort of problems disappear, paper disappears. So I react to a problem, I analyze the problem, and when I'm finished, I'm what is get what people expect. So above the line. Above the line is what we call delight. I do something that the customer does not expect. My students don't expect that we give them an upgrade in the degree. They don't expect when they graduate that I say, guess what, in 9 months, I will send you an upgrade. We will teach blockchain-enabled process innovation, and you get that upgrade. You have a master's in BPM that upgrades all the time. And my students would say, wow, thank you, I've never heard about this. I couldn't come up with the idea, but I think it's a good idea. You see the difference between improving and reacting to designing something new. So this is where we work on what we call design. I've got no problem to work with, but I have to come up with an idea. So it's proactive. I'm faster than my students, my customers. They don't expect that idea. And finally, it's more driven by revenue or new services, new customer experiences. So when we teach process management, we talk about above and below the line. So when we redesign a process, we always ask ourselves for every idea, is this a below the line or above the line idea? Most people are very good below the line. Most people are very bad above the line. The NESTT tries to do both. So I'll quickly show you how the room looks like. And I hope you can be flexible with the camera. So what we do is, we take this picture and I say, this is very much today. Yeah, so this is today and this is tomorrow. So now match all this becomes one big room. Now match it becomes this room. So imagine, and we do this in the NESTT, we write down, this is the future. This wall, this entire wall, talks about where you want to be with your process. And then we will have 3 columns. We might say, what can we do in 20 days? What can we do in 20 months? And what can I do by, let's say, 2022? And like if you would have the next year, we would say, ideas in 20 days, ideas in 20 months, ideas in 2022. And this is the future. Then, sorry about the camera now, then I draw a line. Yeah, that's a this is your line. So I just put it here. So this half is where we only talk about the future. When you physically, and you have this rule, you can only talk about tomorrow. Nothing is broken. We only talk about what else is possible. Sorry, but when we go to this half, we talk about the hygiene factor. So here we write down today. So write down today. You say, well, how does the process look like? And let's say, where's the pain point? So here, I'll ask you, how do you work right now? What are you doing? What's broken? Where's the paper? Where's the bottleneck? So in this half, you can talk about today, what's broken, what's horrible. And then I literally take you and say, now we go to the other world. Nothing's broken. It's all perfect. We're all about crafting tomorrow. That's the nest. And you will spend up to 4 weeks, 1 or 2 hours every day in the Zoom. You come in the room and you're either in this half, that means you have to design, be creative, look forward. Or you're in the other half and you have to be an analyst. And for this 4 weeks, we work in this room. The key item is, or the first question is, if you would run a nest, would you start in this half or in this half? Who thinks that you would start in that half? And who would think that you would start in this half? Why? There was yes?
I think we should think first what we expect will happen in the future, and then we try to decide how we will get there.
Yep. And Kevin, you said start at this half?
Because in my opinion, if you want to start the future, you have to know about today.
You have to know about today, yeah. And Ilma, you said we start in the future?
Yeah, because I already know what happens in today daily routine, so I might know what I want in the future.
Yeah. And Radas, you also said we start here?
Yes, in the future.
Right.
That can get more than what you expect.
Yeah. It was Aisa? Aisa, sorry. You said we start
Today.
why?
I need to finish all of the things today. If I think about tomorrow, I will get very
Break down the responsibility.
Tomorrow. So it's interesting that we've got very different views. And I ask myself the same question. On Monday morning, do I take them in this half or do I take them in this half? Typical process management would start where? Today, yeah? So I would say, how does the process look like? Let's craft the process model. You okay?
Yeah.
You would start morning, you would start to craft the process model, then you work out what's broken, and then you try to fix it. But I realize when people look at today, they're very constrained. They can only imagine minor steps. So the problem is, you might start today and see a lot of problems, and when I'm finished, I'm a bit better. But it's very hard to jump from here to complete your work. And the more I see about today, the harder it is to mention something else. The other thing is, if I say we redesign a process, and when we're finished, 1 or 2 pieces of paper are gone, nobody gets too excited about it. And I want them to excite. I want them to go home and say, wow, this was a great day. My KPI, my goal was, how long does this take until every member in the project goes home and over dinner with their partner talks about how great the day was. That was my target. So if you all, the group, I would ask you every day, did you over dinner talk with your partner about the great work you did at QUT? And I would see how many days do I need, and he would say, wow, I talked at home, but I never do about work. That was my KPI. I'm serious. Every nest, because I want them to come here and say, I can't wait to continue this work. And I realized if I draw a lot of process models, I ask you what is broken and what other paper could go, that is interesting, but it's not wow. And I realized people only get excited in this half of the room. So, we always start in this half. You would come, we put all the chairs, we often don't even have chairs, but you are not allowed to go in this half. Literally, you're not allowed to go in this half. You will stand in this half, and we will work out for the first 1 or 2 days what will be the perfect process. What will be the perfect process? And then we work out how we get there. So, good morning. So the main challenge is how do I get there? That's what I'm asking here, as opposed to how do I fix it? Clear? Process management is obsessed with how do I fix it, not about how do I get there. So I want that every time you think very hard about how do I get there, as opposed to how do I fix it. After 2 or 3 days, when I roughly know what can I do in 20 days, 20 months, or by 2020, 2022, then I slowly start to talk about how do we work today. But by that time, it hardly matters, because you're so keen to make this possible. To give an example, travel management. So when you have travel management at a university, that means you fill out a form, you submit your request, and then 1 or 2 or 3 supervisors look at it, sign it off, and gets approved. Can I get one idea? What would you discuss in this half of the room in travel management? What could be a typical question? Why does it take so long?
What are the criteria for travel being subsidized?
That's right. What are the business rules? Are you subsidized? Why do I need 3 signatures? Or can paper become a WhatsApp, email, or workflow? Yeah, so you look at what's going on, and you try to fix it. And I think you're all more or less used to it. Give me one idea. What could you discuss in this hub?
We don't need to submit and we just give message.
Yes, so maybe how would the world look like without approval? What else? Try to come up with complete different questions now. And it's hard, I know. It's so much easier in this half than here. In this half, all you need to do is to look at the process. You've got something in front of you and you fix it. Here, nothing exists. It's very hard. Like designers work with an empty piece of paper. This half is empty. This half is very busy with problems. So what we did is we calculated how many days do we travel. In QUT, at my university, we travel 104 years every year. 104 years. So we've got 2,000 staff members. Like I'm traveling 3 days now. That's 3 days.
Yeah.
There will be 100 colleagues of mine who's somewhere in the world right now. If you add up all these days, we ended up with 104 years per year. So the question we asked here is, what can we do with 104 years of travel? Does QUT have a lot of alumni in Surabaya? Could I do a dinner talk for 20 QUT alumni? It's nothing to do with approval. Lecture theatres. When we book lecture theatres, we've got classes and lecture theatres, and someone has to make sure that the right class is in the right lecture theatre. It's an operations research problem. That's what we discuss here. What would you discuss here? Forget problems for a moment. Delete problems. You don't want to create a better plan. You create a better plan there. What do you do here? The same way of thinking. If you walk around the campus, what do you see right now? Sorry?
Trees?
But if you look to the lecture theatres, what do you see?
Classrooms. Empty classrooms.
Empty classrooms. You see empty classrooms. What could you do? Rent it out. So when you go to Vienna, to the university, when the semester is finished, they will hire 3 real estate people and they try to rent out computer labs, lecture theatres. They try to make money with the empty space. You do better planning there, you rent out idle space. Uber, Airbnb, they saw the empty space at home, in your car, when they activate it. So you have to become familiar with seeing what else you can do. Airlines, I can improve the boarding process or the travel experience there. What I'm doing in Brisbane now, at the boarding gate, we are organizing pop-up markets. So it's an A380 going from Brisbane to Dubai, 550 people. They spent 1.5 hours at the boarding gate. But the boarding gate is empty, there's a vending machine. I said, 550 people fly to Dubai. Could you create an Arabic market? Could it be a pop-up market experience? Could you sell a theme park, a taxi, a surfing lesson, a restaurant booking? Before you depart, could you give them dates to eat or Arabic tea? Could you prepare them for Dubai? And would companies in Dubai pay to talk to people who arrive in 14 hours? It doesn't exist in the world. It's a pop-up Arabic market at the boarding gate. Nothing to do with fixing what's broken. You see the difference, yeah? So the nest is about that people become familiar with both sides. When you ask your colleagues, they can talk forever about what's broken. And they struggle to work at what's possible. Clear? All right. Let's take an example. So, has anyone been in New York? But you know of New York, of course. So, this is the Empire State Building. The Empire State Building was built in 1930 during the Depression. It took them only 410 days to build this building. And if you arrive in New York today, you can arrive here at the bottom, you wait for a few minutes, then you pay, I think it's $29. Then you have to wait maybe for 90 minutes or 1.5 hours on a sunny day. You go up in a lift, you enjoy the view for as long as you want, and then you go down. So that's a process, yeah? Now imagine this process would be in the nest. We are here to improve the process for tourists who come to the Empire State Building. Again, give me one problem you could discuss in this half.
Long queue.
Sorry?
Long queue.
Long queue, yeah? So we would say, you wait here for 90 minutes, that takes forever. I want that you all write down one idea, and what I want is, I want to make more money. I'm the Empire State Building. At the moment, tourists are coming, they pay $29, they wait in the queue, they go up for as long as they want, and then they go down. I want that you all write down one idea. What can you do so I make more money? I give you 2 minutes. Write down a single idea. What can I do in the process to make more money? It's difficult for us. You've got an idea? What's your name again? Sorry. Frina? I asked for a second for your idea. Good idea? So what's your name again?
Hendra.
Hendra? Good idea, Hendra?
About putting
I asked you in a second. Alright, you all have one idea? Yes? Was it easy or difficult? Difficult or easy? Difficult. Why?
I don't know. The school time there are maybe you have to wait a long queue or
Yes.
something like.
Yeah. So you arrive, you can pay within a few minutes $29, and then it's a long queue where you wait for 90 minutes and then you go up. Clear? Alright. Before I ask you for your answer, can you also write down how did you come up with the idea? How did you think to come up with the idea? So now look at your idea and say, how did I come up with the idea? Write down, how did you come up with the idea? How did you think to come up with the idea? Got that? So you've got a piece of paper, you've got one idea, and you wrote down, how did you come up with the idea? Got that? So, if you become a really good process designer, If you're a good process management person, you're very good on the second item. You're very good on the item 2. If you do number 2, think in a certain way, very well, you will come up with item number 1. A lot of people can produce ideas and they don't know how they thought. Was it difficult for any of you to say, I don't even know how I came up with the idea? A lot of people say, here's my idea, but it just came to me. I don't even know where it came from. A good process person doesn't work like this. They said, oh, let me think in a certain way. So I talk about idle assets. Uber, idle asset is the car. Airbnb, idle asset is the home. Boarding gate, idle asset is the customer waiting at the boarding gate. University, the idle asset is the empty lecture theatre. QUT travel, the idle asset is the staff member who could do other things while they travel. 5 times an idea, 5 times idle assets. So what we do is become very good at spotting an idle asset. That's just one idea. That's how you come up with new ideas. Frina, what's your idea? Share whatever you have, it doesn't matter. Just say, it doesn't matter. Whether it's good or bad, it doesn't matter. Whatever comes to your mind.
Open
Yep.
media store maybe.
Very good. Open a store. So what could you sell?
Books maybe.
Books, yeah, very good. Maybe a book about the history of the Empire State Building. And I make more money, and maybe I do this while people wait. Yeah, they're bored, idle asset, in these 90 minutes I'm selling a book. Great idea. What was your name again, sorry?
My name is Hira.
Hira? Hira. Sorry. Hira, what's your idea?
So I have 2 ideas actually.
Give me the best idea.
I think it's souvenir stores.
Souvenir store, yeah? So a bit like you sell books, you sell souvenirs, and Andra, what's your idea?
I just thinking about putting like high resolution camera, like 360 degree, so that people around the world can enjoy the view and it will make them want to go there.
How? And how do you make more money out of this?
Yeah, because I mean, by knowing from my experience, I went up to some towers, and then when I go up, the situation is quite different with what I'm expecting. Like it's kind of more easy. Yeah. So by knowing what kind of situation right now, you can put it in advance.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Can I get one more idea that is different to selling things or the view? Emma.
I will make a special queue that will have different prices with maybe with food or coffee in it, so it will have a different queue. So this is the special queue and this is the other queue.
And how much would you charge for the special queue?
I don't know.
How did you come up
Maybe
with
10% or 25%.
Fair enough. How did you come up with the idea?
That's what you asked. Is this how? What do I do when I wait? I want maybe special queue that have different prices, so I will get faster to the.
But just because you as a customer, this is what you would like to have, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, one idea is always you ask yourself, if I go to the Empire State Building, what would I want? It's a great idea. The challenge is, every time you imagine a new scenario, if I book a ticket for a cinema, if I go in a classroom, if I'm a patient in the hospital, it's one way, it just means you require a lot of imagination. What you described is called, and I'll talk about this in a second, triaging. There's a book called What Money Can't Buy. What Money Can't Buy. And the whole book talks for 250 pages about should you triage?
Yeah.
And should you allow a world where people can pay more money and they don't have to wait? Could you imagine a world where you pay more and you don't have to wait? And you have this everywhere. Yeah, you go to a theme park, Heathrow, at London Terminal, you pay £2 and you get a special queue. You could argue if you're a frequent flyer, you get a short queue because you pay more for travel overall. So, when you improve a process, if you moderate the nest, and I don't know what process we will study. So if I'm in a nest, it could be any process. Video camera, can it share the view? Can it scale up to 1 million? Is it legally feasible? Is it really allowed to bombard people with advertisement? And is it ethical? If I charge $10 more so you don't have to wait on new ideas, will I get in the press? Will people criticize me and say the Empire State Building is only for rich people? So, feasibility means technical, legal, and ethical feasibility. And the last one is what's called viability. Viability means, do I make money? Maybe the customer wants it. Yes, I can build it, but is it good for me? Is it viable? Maybe the technical infrastructure for the video camera costs me $1 million and hardly anyone comes. To triage, I might need a second lift, a second queue, massive investment. I never get my money back. So, we are here in the process of generating ideas, and then later, every idea we ask ourselves, is it desired, feasible, or viable? At the moment, I don't ask any of these 3 questions. I'm just collecting idea after idea after idea. So when we work in the nest in the first days, it's just idea after idea after idea. I want you to go home and your head is buzzing. Oh my God, these 29 ideas already. So if this is the Empire State Building, which of these ideas is 20 days, 20 months, or 2020? DIRA, selling souvenirs. We can do this at the end of August next year or in 4 years. How much time would you need?
Actually, it depends on the souvenirs that I want.
Don't say people, just say 20 days, 20 months.
Okay, I'll take it on 20 days.
20 days, absolutely, yeah? So you just have a pop-up shop, say, hey, for $100 a day, you can sell whatever you want. How long do you need to sell books?
2 days, 20 days.
20 days, yeah, so great. When you sell souvenirs, you can sell books. What about triaging, charging more, having a second queue? 20 months, yeah? So you have to sort of fast track and say for $10, you don't wait. You just skip the queue and you go up. And to install a video camera and invite the world for $1 to watch?
20 months.
20 months, yeah? So here's a kind of video streaming for cash. So people just now tease out idea after idea after idea and work out how much time will I take. Yeah? So we talk about, let's say, how long do you need for your idea to talk an airline to sell Empire State Building tickets?
That's not my idea. It's just for my own idea is to create a movie, King Kong movie.
So we talk about this in a second. At the moment, I just want to know if you could just sell tickets in advance to airlines. So you have to negotiate with airlines, you do the commission model, pricing model. 20 months, yeah? So you've got airlines as partners. Airlines as partners. And then we talked about the idea of advertisement, convincing others to advertise. Maybe here as well, yeah? So we put 6 ideas. We already discussed what can I eliminate. There's so many other ideas we have. So I want to quickly now go through what else we do. So the next question is, what could I insert? What could I do that I don't do right now? So you 2 ideas. I can insert. So this is inserting here. And this is elimination. I eliminate payment. Or, Anissa, you said the book at home, yeah?
Yes.
Elimination. I eliminate payment. Video streaming, I eliminate going up. I'll talk about this in a second. So inserting means anything I can add to that process. And of course, what else would I add? Souvenirs, books, coffee.
Vehicles.
What's that?
Vehicles.
What's that?
Vehicles.
Yes. Sandwich food. I could sell King Kong costumes. I could have a guided tour. Maybe you want to tour in Indonesian. Yeah, so I find people and the guide will talk about September 11th or whatever in Indonesian. Maybe selfies or selling roses to people who want to propose, whatever, yeah? So there's a long list of things you can add. Then the next sequence, the next pattern is what we call resequencing. So, and you can see, this is not about training ideas and ideate, and I don't give you post-it now. It's a very structured approach. So every time, I go back to your idea of a movie in a second, it's like I cluster the ideas. I don't say come up with any idea. I say delete everything else you had so far, start fresh, and ask yourself, same process, but could I do it in a different sequence? So instead of A, B, C, could I do B, C, A, or is there anything I can mix around? Any ideas?
Enjoy A. After enjoying the few, then you could pay.
So you move payment to the end?
Yes.
It's a great idea. It's amazing, the same idea. So, yeah. Anyway, so I can see how you think, by the way. I'll show you later how you do it. So the first one is to tease out the idea. Yeah, so someone suggests, why don't we pay at the end? Don't cheat, write down, what's the biggest advantage? Don't talk, just write down. If I pay at the end, what's the biggest advantage? And having in mind, I want to make more money. I'm the Empire State Building. I own the Empire State Building. I want to make more money. I want to know from you, if I do this, why do I make more money? Write it down.
Pay for the selfies that you have taken?
Pay.
Pay for the selfies that you have taken?
Yes, which is probably, so they look like someone will take a picture of you, I guess.
Yeah.
Not a selfie, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's a bit more inserting, yeah? So I add something new to the process. It's like the coffee, yeah? You buy a picture, you buy a coffee, you buy a book, you buy a souvenir, you buy a King Kong costume. And then I charge you, of course. So what's your name again? Fitri. Right. I learned so much more first names. You all have this. Is it easy or is this difficult? Easy or difficult? And you can rather say it's difficult, because if you say it's easy, you all know the answer and you can ask anyone and you give the answer. So you can see when you improve a process, you think in two stages. One is, I have to come up with the idea of moving it to the end. The second step is sense making. Why does it make sense? So we might say, oh, like, of course, move it to the end, but then the question is, why would I? Which is probably hard. Tell me, what is the biggest benefit if payment happens at the end?
Reducing queue.
Sorry?
Reducing the queue time.
Do I?
What the queue to pay?
But is there danger that they all leave and they all queue up to pay? And why do I make more money then?
Usually if we pay first for something, then if you want to buy another items from the store, we would we would need to pay again.
So you have only one payment process, yeah? Yeah? It's a bit like a restaurant. You pay at the end for whatever you had eaten. Yeah? So it's sort of convenience, yeah? So maybe the queue is less long, there's one payment, but does it really mean a complete new way of making money? Or is it just a bit more convenient? I'm looking for what's a breakthrough idea? Why is it so totally different? Anyone?
Paying with card, like tourist card. So probably they enter the building not having the card.
Can you do me a favor? So at the moment we think about, there's only one payment, there's a shorter queue, I can pay with a card. These three ideas are probably still in this half. I have a problem, I wait too long, I pay too often, it's nice to pay with a QUT. So what is difficult becomes a bit easier. I want to hear, if I pay at the end, what could be totally different? So in order to come up, ask yourself, how do I pay for car parking? How do I pay for water? How do I pay for electricity? How do I pay for
Subscription.
Sorry?
Subscription.
subscription? How much do you pay?
For
How do you pay for car parking? Sorry?
Oh. No.
So I don't mean how you pay, how much do you pay?
Hourly or 1 hour, 2 hours?
So what's the main difference now?
How long we enjoy the film?
Very good. Continue.
And then
So what's the big difference in this model to the previous process?
give only the time.
Forget, delete problems for a moment. Don't think less crowded people, shorter queue, one payment. Delete problems out of your brain. Think about what's the possibility.
You can charge more because it's hourly.
Hourly or per minute if you want.
Progressive.
Sorry?
Progressive if you add 1 hour and then 5 minutes after that.
So, you see the big difference? At the moment, the Empire State Building charges per person. You walk in, you pay $29. You might be there for 5 minutes, take a selfie, you go. Or you might want to propose to your girlfriend, it takes you 5 hours to get your act together. But you pay $29. The Empire State Building means, as long as you're there, propose to your girlfriend, nobody else can go up, because only 20 people can be there. So you have to leave, so someone else goes up. But I don't know how long you will be there. And you can be there as long as you want. So, instead of paying per head, I could introduce pay per minute. I can't rely on my imagination if I'm in New York. I've never been to New York. But the ability to see triaging as an option is important. So, in summary, we learn that coming up with an idea is not too hard. If I would ask you to give me 10 ideas, it might be challenging, yeah? The second one is we have different ways of how we come up with the idea. But very rarely we think about, do I see an idle asset? Do I see triaging? So these are generic prompts. And third, if I would ask one of you to improve the Empire State Building, we probably would get 18 different answers. So you would set up a video camera, you would have a second queue, you would sell books, and you would sell souvenirs. If I'm the Empire State Building owner, and I only can afford one of you, depending on who I hire, I get a very different outcome. I don't want this, I want the best possible process. I don't want, because it's Hendra, and I get a video camera, because it's Ilma, I have a second queue. And it's Ira? Because, sorry, Kira. Tia, the T. Dira, sorry. Because it's Dira, I sell souvenirs. You all might design the same process, you all find the same problem, but as soon as I talk about the improvement idea, I depend on you a lot. So we work with a supermarket chain in Australia, Woolworths, and they had that problem. They had all these analysts, and they had massive problems in the distribution center, massive opportunities. And they said, they're all great in modeling, they're all great in analysis, but when it comes to the idea of what we implement, they are going all over the world. There's no consistency. And they ask QUT, can you help us so that all these analysts generate very similar ideas? A lot of ideas, high quality ideas. So that Hendra would say, I've got 4 ideas. I would sell souvenirs, I sell books, I have special triaging, and I've got a video camera. And I asked Dira, and Dira would say, I've got 4 ideas. I sell souvenirs, books, triage, and I have a video camera. It doesn't matter if I pick Dira or Hendra, they would create the same great process. At the moment, we don't have it. So the retail company said to us, now that they understand analysis, they're very bad on ideation, on improving. We depend on the individual, and we don't like it. Because it doesn't matter who I send, I want the same quality outcome. Now, here we analyze, and here we often talk about think outside the box. You know when people think outside the box? Have you heard this?
Yes.
What does it mean if I say think outside the box?
Children have
Sorry?
something extraordinary.
Something extraordinary,
Different kind of view.
different point of view. If I tell you think outside the box, how do you think? What happens in your brain? Thinking what? Thinking harder. That's like my dad always says when I'm tired, he says sleep faster. So it's a bit like this here. Think harder, sleep faster. So how do you think harder? So you can see, but if I want to say fix a problem, you're very mechanical. I write down the process, find a bottleneck, it's one of 7 types of waste in lean management, I know exactly what to do. If I think outside the box, it's like gone all over the place. What I want to do is to give you a bigger box. When you've got a big box, you don't have to think outside the box. I'm very lazy, so for me to think outside the box is exhausting. How do I do this now? I don't have an idea, I only have 2 minutes left. Oh my God, I'm not creative, I've never been to New York, what could I come up with? It's exhausting. If I've got a big box, I say, I've never been to New York, but maybe triaging works. I've never been to New York, but maybe I can do cross-selling. I've never been to New York, but maybe there's an idle asset. So you can see in a big box, you don't try to desperately find an idea. You have these prompts. And I want to give you a few of those prompts, so when you go home today, you have a bigger box. Okay? Alright. So, this is your process. And I want to teach you now what we call improvement patterns. So when you're in this half of the room, and I'm facilitating the session, how do I come up with an idea? So what we do is, we have so-called patterns. So I'll ask you, is there anything, for example, I could eliminate? So a pattern means, if this is your process, are there little steps you can do to the process? So, good morning. So the facilitator would ask the analysts, the audience, the stakeholders, is there anything you could eliminate? What could you eliminate?
Wait and pay by booking first.
Think about these 2 items. So waiting. How do you eliminate waiting? Booking first. So you could say instead of arriving, you could book at home maybe, yeah? And then I tell you, Aisa? Anissa. I did all these names are new for me, so I do.
You're doing it right already.
You could say you book at home, I tell you come at 10:39 and you don't wait. How do I, when I say eliminate payment, it means you don't pay. You don't pay at all, you do not pay. Question, so first question of course you're right, I could say yes, go, and eliminate, and wait you could go, yeah? And you book at home. You do not wait. Now you suggested, can I get rid of payment? Yes or no?
Yes.
Who said yes? You excluded. How do I get rid of payment? So as an analyst, I'm a facilitator. I don't know anything about the Empire State Building. And you work at the Empire State Building for 20 years. You're customers, you're working there. I have no idea. So I'm here to ask you, can you get rid of payment? And then we need to work out yes or no. And the answer could be maybe no. Alright. How do I get rid of payment?
Because they were doing something else, and this is the free gift.
So what do they pay for?
Maybe because they work there, and then after certain hours of working, then you don't need to pay.
But what do you do with a typical tourist? The person's 2 days in New York, I want to go to the Empire State Building. Is there a world where I would not pay? You also have to pay? Sorry?
You don't have to pay with money. You can pay with something else.
Like?
Electronic money.
Lot of students. Sorry?
No, it's like when you buy your, for example, a tour to New York or your airline tickets. You don't pay for the entire state, but it comes
comes with the.
So you could imagine that's why maybe they're partnered with an airline.
Yeah.
And say when you fly to New York, we embed it.
Yeah.
So you don't feel like I'm paying for it. And as part of the $2,000 ticket, yes, you get a ticket to the airport. That's a very great idea. How do you consume a service like Google, WhatsApp? Sorry?
Ads. By ads.
So if you do this here, what could you do?
If you become the advertiser.
You become the advertiser or? Electronic billboards, you might slow down the lift, there's a lot of advertising in the lift, and it said, I've got all these tourists, they're in the queue, for 90 minutes they're waiting, you can bombard them with advertisement, I can advertise them on top. So Google would say, of course it's for free, but with a lot of advertising. I would make my money from those guys who want to advertise. So yes, I could imagine a world where payment doesn't exist. What's your idea, Hendra? You talked about, I've got a video camera. How does this connect to the idea of...
we can animate it to go up.
Just live at home.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Secret, I already knew what you would tell me, yeah? So... that's fine. So how do you make money?
Subscription.
Advertisement, subscription, or...
I'm in Surabaya.
Yeah.
I really want to see the Empire State Building. So what do?
Click online to see the camera view.
And how much does it cost?
$1.
$1, yeah? For half an hour, I'll charge you $1. You don't even come to New York.
Or by selling to the hotels, so they will get the view at the room they stay.
Yeah. So it's very important that you now think in a very structured way. So the first idea is only elimination. You don't think about anything else right now. And the first step was, is there anything I can do to eliminate waiting? And when I exhausted this, then I go to the next one. And we only talk about, can I eliminate payment? And yes, I can embed it in a ticket. I can eliminate it for seniors, for kids, for staff members. Or I can embed it in other price tickets. Or I do advertising like Google. Then we talk about, can I still make money with you, but you're never there? And your idea was, I have a video camera, and then you said, I charge you $1 wherever you are in the world, and you can watch the New York firework. And guess what? I've got 1 million people watching for half an hour in the background of the New York firework. I just made $1 million by sharing a view, and nobody even came. You see how easy it is? We only had one pattern out of 50. We only had 5 or 6 ideas. It's very important that at this moment we don't ask, does the idea make sense? When you make a Hollywood movie, you want a lot of scripts. I want 10,000 ideas to have one blockbuster. So, if we try to improve the Empire State Building, I need a lot of ideas. That doesn't mean that I implement all these ideas. But I'm here to create an oversupply of ideas. I don't judge you. I don't say, what a crazy idea with a video camera. There's no way we do this. I say, great, one more idea. And maybe I make $1 million every New Year's Eve. Later I talk about, is it, when you judge an idea, you ask 3 questions. Is it desired? Do customers really want this? Would customers want to be in a lift and bombarded with advertisement? Are there customers who would spend $1 to watch the firework? The second one is it feasible? Feasibility means, is it technically feasible? Can I set up a